This. Does it work? This. This. Testo, testo. 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 Yeah, I guess it works now. Testo. Testo. I don't know if this works or not, but yeah. I hope it works though. It should be. Fine. That's for the BGM. 5 hours should be enough. So it's been a while since the last time I streamed. How? Wait a second. It's been 3 months since I last streamed, but I hope it's still working well. Wait, why don't we just check it? Since I last streamed. Yeah, it's working nice. Okay, so what am I going to do in this stream? So I think it's 2 weeks earlier. Okay, so basically the game broke, not in a literal sense, but yeah, it's just yeah, the code base became cursed, and then the productivity of the development dropped because it's really messy. Let me check the code. Where is it again? I think it's in the enemy. So the goal was, that the when I trying to get the combat ready build to be finished, I did a lot of change to the enemy base class, but yeah, it's not so pretty. Just look at it. On party change character if target. Yeah. I mean, it's not that bad, but this, I don't know. I just feel this might become a really bad thing to work with in the future. And also, there's a lot of coupling, like on the from state machine. So, what is it? Is it not here, or is it in the enemy? Oh yeah, in the enemy. Where is it? Oh yeah, this. So the biggest problem that I have, or the code base have, is it's coupled way too much. Like a lot of things depend on party singleton, and that party singleton need to have an active party member. So because a lot of object or scene requires one or more party member to exist, it creates this kind of hard coupling when if there's nothing exists in the party array, the game will just, I don't know, commit suicide. Yeah, that's the biggest problem. But of course I can just fix it with adding a flags with if party doesn't exist, or I don't know, just but that's just a temporary solution. And I think ultimately I need some change to the architecture, because the current architecture is cursed. And so after I realize it is cursed, I try to find a better way of handling things. So there's a couple of resources that I found. The first one is this one. This is a book, but there's a free version that you can read here. uh, this is helpful. Although, yeah, this is helpful. Although the thing that I've implemented from this book is a tiny, weeny, small portion of it. Why? Because, well, turned out Godot have already implemented most of this, like on the flyweight pattern. This is already built with the engine, like game loop, update method. All of this, not all of this, most of this pattern is already built into the engine, but not all of it. So well, just to get an idea of what I'm going to use from this book is this one, the Observer. This one is by far the most useful pattern that I can implement into the game. So the current state of the game, it's somewhat really coupled, as like I said before, it's really tightly coupled. For example, the party and the HUD need party member to exist no matter what. So if the party members somehow died, right, there is none of them left, the game will crash because the HUD is constantly getting information from those party members. But since the party members are died and they are freed from memory, the game just what the fuck are you talking about? They don't exist, and then just bloop. Yeah. And this observer pattern solved that in a way. So instead of getting the information directly from the party members, this observer pattern use something called signal. So it in short, party doesn't need to know who needs information from them, and anything that needs information from party doesn't have to listen to the party constantly. They still coupled in a way, but it's better than strictly tightly coupling them. So yeah, that's a huge improvement. So that's that. Yeah, and the rest of the pattern is also useful, but it's really what is the word again? Situational. Like, don't get me wrong, like this thing bytecode is really powerful, but I don't really need it. Like object pooling, this will improve the performance by a lot, but for the time being, I don't need it. So that's that. And the other resource that I use is from this guy called Tutemic, if I recall correctly. Come on, internet. Tutemic. Yeah, he made this one big video, basically showcasing the golden, not the golden, but just a rule of thumb on how you write Godot code. I mean Godot. I'll just use Godot code, and it's really comprehensible. And yeah, so I use this and the game programming patterns, and I use. Lastly, I think this is not really Godot related, but it's more of a general discipline. It's called refactoring, but the exact research that I use is the book with the title of Refactoring. Yeah, this one, improving. Yep, this one. And lastly, I read some random scattered stuff, like for example this article by Nathan. Yeah, he is great. And yeah, so what I'm trying to do is condense all of that information and make my own set of rules or guidelines to be applied to the game. So here's what I got so far. We got this, the design philosophy, the code guidelines, and yeah, here's the meat of it. And yeah, there's barely anything. It's just yeah. And so yeah, well, basically we're gonna try to finish this in this stream, because I have to turn this into to Kitsune so he can review it. Anyway, yeah, that's the general idea of what we're going to do. And yeah, so the first one, call down, signal up. Okay, let's just get into it. What is it? Oh yeah, I'm using Hugo. It's a nice, it's a static set generator created with Go, and it's really, really, really nice. Go check it out. Okay, so what is it? Pattern and architecture, and call down and signal up. What this means is, what the general idea of call down and signal up is, yeah, a parent should manage its child, and the child shouldn't call the parent directly. Okay, so yeah, that's the general ideas. If the parent node needs require to call a method of its child, then no, that's too verbose. I'm not trying to write Java here. A child node should be managed by its parent, and the child shouldn't call their parent. Okay, I should elaborate on that. For example, as a rule of thumb. Oh, wait, this sentence is the same with. wait. As a rule of thumb, parent should manage its child, and the child shouldn't call the parent directly, but they should. But the yeah. That this is nice. As a rule of thumb, the parent should manage its child, and the child shouldn't call the parent directly. Okay. If the child need if the child need the parent to do something, it should use a signal. Okay, then let's give example. Wrong button. Let's see, what's a great example for this? A parent oh no. Yeah. Get no child do no. Do something. And then I'll just make it a block of code actually. I'll make it a go. Nice, not nice, but do get node child do something done. Get node to parent through something. Okay, let's check it out. Oh no, I think it's something like this. Yep, get node child to something. Get node parent to something. Yep. Yeah. Okay. I forgot how to create signal. Signal. One child event to something. Signal. Is it emit signal? Emit. Yep. Child heard. Let's see how messy that is. Call down. Signal up. Call up. Yep. I think this should be all. I'll flush it out later. And then inheritance over composition. Oh yeah, I forgot something. Base paradigm. The official Godot documentation favor traditional OOP over any other paradigm, mainly ECS. And we're going to follow that, but it is not restricting, as in Godot also offer a high level composition with scene, but it'll be primarily composed with inheritance, I guess. Yep, inheritance. Yep. Inheritance over, as mentioned above, Godot favor inheritance over composition. For example, a player class would look like this. Entity character. Entity character, and this will be, yeah, instead of I'll make this a code block also. God dang it. I'll make it go again. Is it? Yep. Entity character instead of character sama dengan control. What's it's component like spread, etc. But since Godot support combining scenes together, will usually looks like this. Make them go up. Will this looks good? I don't know. Kinematic body 2D sprite. Area 2D hitbox. Area 2D hitbox. Yep. One more for good measure. Weapon, yeah. Node 2D weapon. Yeah, that looks like it. In this specific project, we should encourage shallow inheritance, but wide. Hey, I don't know if that would make sense to other people, but yeah. Context-based coupling. Okay. So what do I mean by context-based coupling? Like the pattern, or almost all of the patterns exist to discourage coupling, right? But coupling is inevitable, right? No matter how hard I try to decouple everything, it's necessary, right? So the point is to minimize tight coupling. But if it's absolutely necessary to do so, then yeah, go ahead. But when is this quote unquote necessary time? So an objects should be coupled when they are related enough. What do I mean by that? For example, a player will have a sprite. And this instance of sprite is specifically exists for the player itself. So any other object will not care about its existence, the only thing that the only object, oh, Momiji Team, I like this. What is it? Nice. Only it will, any other object will not care about its existence. The only object that care about its existence is the character. Fuck no. Base class. Therefore, it is safe to tightly couple them. But now for the if it's not related enough, decouple them. Do not couple them. Do not couple them. Example: an NPC will have the ability to prompt dialogue. So at a first glance, it is reasonable to put the dialogue node inside the scene tree of that NPC, but dialogue can also be instantiated. What's it? Instantiate can be called. Also can be called from other than NP. I'll fix the grammar later. So it is a bad idea to couple them together. If this is the case, please refer to global signal. Alright, that should be all. A player will have a sprite, and this instance of sprite is specifically exists for the player itself, so any other object will not get what is the only object that cares. Come on, but it's existent. Why is it double? Is the character base class there was to tightly couple them if it's not related enough? Yep, this should be how it is done. Yep. Assumption is evil. Yeah. Is the stream still running? Yep. It's still. Signal and global signal. Okay. Signal slash observer pattern is powerful. It's powerful, but it is still can be dangerous. We just use it as is everywhere. It's like salt is nice, but it's not applicable to every kind of dishes. So when to use them, we want to use signal if an event, if a certain event, if something, if an even, how do I write this? taking place if or more object. Isn't this? Oh no. I forgot whose team is this. Oh, Letty, yeah. We want to use signal if two or more object cares about its significance. Example. A player when enemy hitbox enters player's hurtbox, the player base class need to know that it happened so it can reduce the player's health, but and at the same time the UI also need to know that to update the what is it again? The health bar. Okay. Okay. This is an extension of the regular signal pattern. So I'll just remove this because it'll just make I don't know, confusion. This is an extension of the regular signal pattern. Yep. The regular signal pattern usually used when a child needs to notify its parent that something happened. If that's the case, a regular signal will do wonders. But when other node need to know something happened, but doesn't have a direct connection to the node, that's when we should use global signal. Okay, so when to use global signal, okay. When a child needs to notify its parent that something happened, if that's the case, a regular signal will do wonders. I think a comma, rare. That comma isn't needed. Hip, I'll delete that. No, not this comma. Yep, this comma, but doesn't have a direct connection to the node. That's when we should use global signal. We will use two forbidden technique here. Global and singleton. Yeah, but a forbidden technique here. Singleton. Come on. This is probably the safest, one of the safest singleton that we can use, because it does not create any hard coupling, or not hard, tight coupling. Okay, it will only provide an easy access to connect a signal, but even when the signal isn't no, I need to find the right word for this. It will only provide an easy access to connect a signal. For example, how do I draw graph? HUD. I'll just use this kind of thing. Global signal. Character. Character will send a signal that something happened, but doesn't care who received that signal. So even when the signal sender is gone, there will be no crash, since there's no direct connection. So when to use global signal, we want to use signal if two or more objects are cares about its significance. When enemy hit point enters players and poke the player base class need to when to not use global signal. Alright. Okay, let me think about this. When to not use this? If the receiver has a more convenient way to connect to the signal, then it's best to not use a global signal. Okay, assumption is evil is night. Okay. Assumption is evil. Yes. Do not assume that a node exists, that something exists, that something will exist because if it if it's not, well then I don't know. It's going to create a hell of a trouble. Uh, it's that is a quick and easy way to create debugging hell. Yep, yep. Da, 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 da. For example, the enemy AI needs player position at all times at all time to for it to works. This is an assumption. It assumes that the player will exist no matter what. But in reality, this is hard to achieve. For like the enemy AI, for example, can exist before the player, or the player may might die and disappear from memory. In that case, the entire game will break. This kind of assumption usually is a result of what is it again? Of careless thinking. More often than not, the first idea that came to our mind is to no. The enemy AI just need like positional element for it to work. This is an assumption. It assumes on fancier language or not fancier, since this script is not statically, is not enforcing any kind of safety regarding this, we have to improvise and restrain ourselves from using real reference. Unsafe, no, not real, unsafe. Unsafe reference usually is a fruit of a quick solution that our head conjure, and more often than not, the first solution that came into our mind isn't the greatest. Just let's be honest here. Yeah. Let's see. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Don't mind. Let's just head. Let's be consistent here. Okay. Let's just capitalize this. Just keep in mind that when we create an unsafe reference, there might be a better way of doing it. We'll be using FSM to manage controlled entity, because it is simple enough. Not simple. Simple enough to implement, but more importantly, controlled entity is predictable. This prevents the FSM to blow up in lines, and we're not going to use it to control enemy behavior. Oh no, not enemy. Yeah, AI, uncontrolled entity. This is a solution to define the behavior of an uncontrolled entity. What? wait. I'll change that. Wait a second. The behavior. The cause is that this is way more boilerplate up front and is harder to understand, but is ultimately better for AI for behavior, for complex but predictable behavior. If we're using FSM for controlling enemy behavior, it might go it can be really messy. It can work for simpler enemy, but at a certain threshold, even adding just one state will require a lot of modification to existing code, and that's less than desirable. With behavior tree, that wouldn't be the case. Adding new behavior is more cost effective. We're not gonna implement our own behavior tree. Instead, we're going to use a plugin for it. Right. I'll fix that later. This is a solution to define the behavior of an uncontrolled enemy. The cause is that this is way more. Although this is way more. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And ultimately, and somewhere down the road, we'll make a boss enemy which will definitely have a lot of behavior, and that's going to be really messy. I know. I've been saying that I hate this one pattern, but it's somewhat unavoidable. There's no escaping it. We're just going to have to use it bare. As a rule of thumb, if the singleton can exist in another game without a lot of modification, then it's generic enough to be a singleton. After all, most of the problem with singleton is the tight coupling, and if it's not tight and just provide an easy access to something, then yeah, that's nice. Also, before creating a singleton, okay. I think that's all. I'll clean it later. Why refactor? I'll open my book. That's where I get this. Yep. Okay. Oh no, the book closed. Wait. Okay. Make the code. Makes the code easier to understand. Okay, that's one. The next one, it helps us find bugs. It prevents the spaghetti reach critical point. Okay. You'll be a time saver in the long run. Yeah, I think that's yep. When the refactor, traditionally we should refactor when there's when what you when the same code is written three times, and when it's start, oh no, set no set to become hard to understand. But in this project, we'll do it after every feature and sign of spaghettification. This is what we need to refactor. If any of these are true, then it's begging to be refactored. Okay. Of course, the obvious one is duplicated code. Hard to understand function and or variable name. Long as function, long parameter list, unless it's a constructor. Global data, of course, yeah, singleton again. Global data, mutable data, divergent change. Okay. Repeated switch. Whoosh. Weird loops. Large class. Common. Long as no, just commons. Okay, this is a small list, not really small, it's kinda big, but it's not all. I didn't include all of them here, but it might increase in the future. But as of now, I think this is the most frequent problem that can happen. So yeah, technique. Yeah, I'll save this for later. Testing. Yeah, versioning. Is it still live? Yep. I don't think it is, but yeah, whatever. Testing. There's a lot of benefits that come with testing. But primarily, we need to test our code for these reasons. It discourages tight coupling. Okay, that's one. Rembrandt, it's someone in Rembrandt or Razan. It saves time in the long run. We're going to use gut plugin for testing. It was like any other testing tool, so there's no need of further explanation. Because it's just generic testing. One thing to note that if the scene really needs a global data, at the very least use dependency injection instead of tight coupling. Okay, now for versioning, I think is the semantic versioning. Yeah, I'll have to read this first. Wait. Okay. I think I'm going to use a modified version of semantic versioning. Wait. Nope, I don't think we're going to use. Not going to use any conventional versioning here. We're going to use the designated version codename for the version, which are combat ready, feature complete, content complete, and release. We're not going to do conversation, we're just going to use the designated code name for the version, which are versioning method. Cheers. Uh, Code name. What's the name of it again? I forgot. I think it's camel something. Oh yeah, camomile.